Ready to be outdriven. I'm working my way to the top to doing this shit for a living. If you want that money, be double O. And if you want that trophy, take double O. And if you wanna be a winner, be double O. And if you wanna be a champ, take double O. Be double O, take double O. Be double O.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the pilot episode of the BE00TAKE00 show. I am PJ North with my esteemed co-host, Tyler Bohannon. T-Bo, what's up, baby?
I'm excited for this. This is going to be great.
I'm excited, man. I think a lot of things happening in the racing world, which give us a chance to chat. Obviously, gives me a chance to be creative and work on some stuff, and gives us a chance to cut up like we do every day. So I'm excited about it, man. I think it'll be interesting to see how the folks at home are hearing it, and we're going to get into it. But before we do all that, if you're watching live on YouTube, thank you. Leave a comment. Let us know in the chat what you're thinking. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We appreciate that. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify tomorrow, or whenever you're hearing this, I should say, don't forget to leave us a review on there, 5-star, 1-star. Let us know what you're thinking. Share with your friends, and tag me and Tyler in your if you're watching. We do appreciate all of that here. And man, we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna pull up my notes. It's been a long time coming. Obviously, if you don't know me or Tyler, you're gonna get to know us a little bit about the show. This is the BE00TAKE00 show, man. We're gonna talk all things racing, as we mentioned in the commercial, and I'm excited about it. And so with all that, we're going to talk a little bit about, one, how me and Tyler know each other, how our came about, a little bit about our story. Obviously, we've both been racing for forever.
It's a shit show.
It really is. But it's like a fun shit. It's like if a shit show went really, really well. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of my thing. Man, first off, Corey, shout out to Corey Gallitti and Josh Decker paying, and I appreciate y'all for checking us out. We're going to get to y'all, too. Oh, you want some more volume, Wes? I can do that, maybe. Let me thank you for giving some insight, Wes. I do appreciate that. That helps me out. Yeah, dude, so obviously we've both been racing for forever. This is my 26th year in the sport. I started in a dragster that my dad built, in a junior dragster. And you have a similar story as well. How long you been racing? Now I'm starting to lose count of yours.
Dude, we've been talking about that we're old.
You're not lying.
20 years. This is year 20.
20 years, man. We should have a special trailer and shirts made up for Tyler Bohannon's 20th year. All of his nicknames: Fluff, T-Bo, Shithead.
I have it.
Whatever.
I think I'm gonna go back to Fluff.
Man, what a great name.
I'll put the pounds back on. Fluff.
Yeah, man, 26 years in this, and obviously, like I said, we both started in junior dragsters, which is, if you don't know myself, or maybe you don't know Tyler, that's kind of what this is, man. We grew up, our dads and my grandparents weren't in it, but his grandparents, obviously a huge part of it. And I think that's the crazy thing, is that how I got started from where I started to where I am in the sport now. I don't know that I ever thought I was going to get to this point right here where we're talking about interviewing some of our heroes, talking to people, watching live. I mean, just kind of the craziest shit, really, realistically, right? I mean, I moved to Nashville 9 years ago to pursue music full time. Obviously ran out of talent, ran out of money. Had a damn good time trying, but all that to say me and you have been friends. The story between us, we've been friends now for 11 years. I met Tyler at the Christmas Showdown. What do they call it? The Santa Showdown.
Santa Showdown,
at
man.
Bullitt County Drags, man.
You got slot cars. Those were life then. Back then, not so much anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about how we met. So that's.
Hey, guess who the best slot car racer in the world is still today?
Steve Collier.
Yeah,
I saw it this weekend. I said, look, sorry, Steve, you're not on our top 25 list. I'll just say it now. But if there were a slot car list, he'd be numbers 1 through 25. The rest of y'all just hanging out, wasting battery power. I guess there's no real fuel there. So just wasting electricity.
Yeah, it used to not bother me. Today it's just starting to bother me.
I get it. That's fair. Connor, I'm all the way up on my side to a certain extent. Tyler's pretty much up. So Connor Gleiser, if you are watching, thank you. I know you are, but maybe check your side. I'll try to keep it minimal so we don't peak, but this is good feedback. Obviously, it's our first episode. So yeah, Tyler and me met 11 years ago, a slot car race, thanks to Brian Whitworth, man. And obviously a lot of people know my story. I'm probably most known for BE00TAKE00. I had a whole bunch of other songs that nobody paid for, which is maybe why it didn't work out for me, right? I don't know. What do you think?
I wasn't even in that song, so it's trash too.
That's fair. That's a good assessment. What's your favorite PJ North song?
Oh,
Let them know.
Mrs. Jones, baby.
Let them know.
Come on. You ain't got that on repeat. Oh, you missed
You
out.
know what? I might throw that in one episode for you, dog. I'll
Oh,
I'll throw in Mrs. Jones into the
make it the
episode.
intro. Change the whole show. Whole show. I
Change
want
the
the
whole
title wrong.
dynamic.
I want it all.
Change the whole. So yeah, man, I'm probably most known for BE00TAKE00. Tyler, what would you say you're most known for?
Probably, I guess TV promotions. Probably, like I don't even consider anything I do in the race car to be worth talking about. So,
You know, it's
TV promotions.
it's crazy that you say that, but like realistically, I think about this. Shout out to Megan Bohannon.
She knows.
Yeah, she knows. I think that you're most known for your driving. Obviously, TB Promotions has had a huge impact on the sport, and if you haven't been, and look, this isn't a shameless plug. I work for him, but obviously, like I've raced TB Promotions stuff, so like I can say as a racer before I ever started working for Tyler and Brian, it is the smoothest run rate. I've seen people get mad and somehow still be able to have a conversation with Brian Whitworth, which is astounding because he is the best at that. And you guys are, and you know what I'm saying? So I was at the first 100K that Tyler put on. I've entered 100K. I did get my money back. Shout out to Dad for helping me make that happen. But yeah, man, it's crazy to think about what we're most known for. You know, me and you talk about this a lot, which is really kind of how this show started. And this is really, we're going to get into it and we're starting to get our flow, but what do you want to most be known for? I know me and you have had this conversation personally a lot. Yeah. What do you want to most be known for in the sport? And I don't know if a lot of people in the chat, if you guys share the same sentiment, if you're watching along, of what, you know, thinking about how do you know, your thoughts on the sport, but this is something that me and Tyler have talked about for a long time. So Tyler, what do you think? I mean, you want to be your lasting legacy in the sport?
I feel like a lot of people are on the same page, but really, I just want to leave the sport in a better place than it, and I found it. Not that it was in a bad place. It was actually doing probably much better then, as far as, depending on how you look at it, racing was doing very good at the time that I started into it. But I just hope that, like, you know, when I leave it, I can leave a positive impact on it, or leave something that, you know, can be used to make it better at least.
Yeah, man, I think that's I think that's really one of, you know, mine and your sentiment both from a different angles, right? Obviously, I came at this thing a little differently. I probably wouldn't be as deep into stock and super stock if it wasn't for Tyler. I wish that wasn't true, but here I am. But I thought the same way, man. My thing has always been with the music is like, I get a lot of people, you know, ask me all the time, oh, when you going to do another racing song? And like all this stuff. And it's like, unfortunately, it's not a mainstream thing, right, to a certain extent. But my thought has always been, how can I leave the sport better than when I found it? We've proposed ideas to NHRA about how we can make it better for the spectator and how the things that we can do to have more involvement and get more sponsors involved and all these things. And I'm constantly having those wheels turning. I talk with Wes Buck at Drag Illustrated, and I talk with Gary at Drag Coverage, and I talk with TJ at Drag Coverage, and all these people, and Gary at Drag Champ, and all these. I think we all share that same sentiment of like, drag racing is something we love. So to see a hobby in a better place, because obviously, like a lot of people, this is their business. TV promotions is your business, right? But in the grand scheme of things, we really want to leave the sport in a better, you know. And I think that's a crazy thing to say, especially knowing me. Like I used to be young and brash and all those things, man. I get it. But like, I still always wanted to leave the sport in a better place, better facilities, better races putting on, better racers, but more, you know, just like make it a thing. Like NASCAR has this lasting legacy that I just feel like drag racing sometimes misses, and we want to continue to have that. And so like, I also feel the same way, man. I hope that we both leave it in a better place than when we found it. I don't know if the BE00TAKE00 show is going to be one of those things, because I may turn this may turn sour the first bad story we get, but who's to say, man? I don't know.
I think, you know, when you talk about the like hobby part of it, I think it's such a struggle to do it for a living, or like to consider it a job, I guess, because you fight that. Like Corey, you know, I just saw his name there, so he's a perfect example. But like something that Corey fights that I fight is it's a hobby to 99%.
Yeah.
So like they don't really appreciate what you put into it, or like think, you know, it's hard to explain that. And I do hate that for those guys, because I think if people truly understood how passionate the guys that are trying to do this are, then that would help the sport.
Dude, and I think that's the thing is like, and I'll tell you, this is a funny, I was talking to Brian, I talked to Brian obviously a lot about how can we produce this in a better way that makes it cooler and more for the racer, but also more for the viewer, right? Like I sit and like, if you look at the chat bleachers on a Motor Mania show, it is a long list of folks, the same people watching all the time, which is awesome. And how do we offer them more value? I talked about this at the NHRA perspective, and I'll say this here. I think Fox has the worst race coverage. They have the worst sports coverage in general as a whole, right? I watch a lot of stuff, so I feel like I know. I can say this. Michigan's on Fox all the time. So for me, I think that like they could do a better job. I was like, look, man, I'm not a graphic designer by trade, right? I didn't go to school for it, but I've learned how to use this system. I've learned things, how to build stuff, how to build overlays, how to make it more intriguing. The stuff that I did for TB, I don't know if I was the first to do it but I feel like we made a concerted effort with a lot of that stuff to show it visually, right? Racers pictures, doing the things, all of that stuff is doable, right? To make it more of like this production worthy thing in a show. And I think racers are the next step. If we can get the personality that I know Donovan Williams to have, and the racers to understand that like, hey man, unfortunately there's going to be a camera like in your face, and it's just is what it is, because that's how, if you look at Street Outlaws, obviously I don't consider that real racing because they're in there sawing on the wheel on a street, but if you look at what they're doing, it is half promotion, right? It's half racing and half pro wrestling, man. And how can we make that? And so like, my wheels are constantly turning about how we can do that for the sport. Like you said, man, and I think those racers that are doing it for a living, Gary and Troy, who have done it forever, and CG, who obviously, and Jaden Lawler's coming up, and all those guys that are doing it and making a real crazy effort at it. I think we got to figure out how to turn that into dollars and cents for them too, man. I'm excited about how we figure that out.
You got to have people that want to figure it out too.
Hey, you're looking. There's two guys right here who want to figure it out.
Yes, I mean, I want to figure it out, and you got to have I feel like the NHRA part of it, anyways. They have to want it to, and I don't think that they care.
Yeah, I don't. Well, that's a whole. We could have a whole episode complaining about that. They don't
care to make it bigger.
While while we talk about this, we're gonna roll into looking ahead to 2025. But there's a couple stories I want to talk about first. First being obviously today, brand new news. And if you're not an NHRA racer, this doesn't impact you, and I get that. But Alan Reinhart has announced that he is not going to be with NHRA in 2025. What does that do? What are your initial thoughts? Obviously, we don't know the whole story. That's regardless of it. What are your initial thoughts on that situation?
I hate it. I liked him, especially for stock and super stock. I thought he was really good at it, and like him and Leo and those guys. But he explained it really well, so I think for that, it's a hit for those guys. And overall, I thought he was really good at his job. I don't know. So
yeah, man, I think that's a huge thing too, and I'm with you on that. Like, all I know is if I win a bag of donuts, I'm giving them back in protest. That we couldn't figure out how to get out. We couldn't figure out how to get Alan Reinhart a deal to make that happen. I think that goes further to the point though. Like we're talking about, like NHRA got to want to do it, and that's a song for another time. We could have a discussion about that for whenever. But point being is that is crazy news. So yeah, Alan Reinhart not gonna be with NHRA. I thought I share the same sentiment. We'll see where it goes. Obviously, I'm not going to stop racing class or anything like that, but interested to see where that happens and kind of how that goes. But 2025, first and foremost, we getting it kicked off this weekend. Practice tree race. I'm entered because I'm not working this weekend. I mean, I'm going to take some video and I'm going to make it look good, but I'm entered. So all I know is I'm going off the bottom. I don't want to see nobody jumping out of their seat on the top bulb, getting all excitable. Right?
Oh, God.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I don't really care. Honestly, dude, I'm one of those guys who doesn't blind or anything in my race car too. I'm the first guy leaving. Everybody knows I'm slow, so I'm seeing the whole thing. I got the hot dog guy. Whenever I'm racing, I can see him. I can see the concession stand popping before my tree comes down. So this guy jumping out of his seat probably doesn't really bother me. I'm also a self-aware human being when it comes to racing of like, if that guy does something and I miss it, that's on me. Like I can't, but I am definitely going to make fun of said person for sure, right? I mean, I feel like
Jesus. This is going to be so much fun. I hate practice tree races. Like, so much.
Hold on. Let me preface this with this man sat with 7 other grown ass men, just 7 men. I was there in Nashville playing with toy cars, about to set a world record. Okay,
Yeah.
and this guy hates practice tree racing. So let me just preface that statement. But go ahead, finish your story.
You can complete a run, okay, at a practice tree race. I have 37,000 incomplete runs, okay, and now let me put on a practice tree race, okay. Ain't nobody making no money, dog. Okay, $0. So now I'm at this set event. My business
Working
partner
for
tells
free.
me, "Don't get drunk."
Yeah,
So
what
now,
a terrible idea.
I'm the only that guy. Like I'm not racing in it, which thank God I don't get to drink, and I ain't making no money.
Yeah, that's not any good. I'm not. Brian, I hope Brian's watching right now. We just call him Brian. Here's the thing, though, man. I'm excited about this new place. The whole point being is that there's a
Brian can't be in here.
There's a $5,000 this weekend, man. Shout out to Race TV Promotions at the Haycraft in E-Town. This guy, look, Brian is such a good friend to me. He realized he added like 9 other races that are not anywhere close to my house this year for me to work. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna do him a solid. I'm gonna make the practice tree race 45 minutes closer for him, and I'm really appreciative of that. So. We're excited, man. I think there's been a lot of entries. They got entries from like all over the place too. If anybody in this chat is coming from the Atlanta, Georgia area, the greater 405, let me know, because I've got a set of bumpers that I need taken back. This is really what I'm here for, just to promote how can I help myself on this podcast. But no, if there is, literally let me know. If you guys are coming from Georgia and you happen to see this, let me know. Shoot me a message. I would love to make it worth your while to take these back, because UPS and FedEx won't ship bumpers. So, but that's the first race. All of that, obviously, practice tree race doesn't really count. But what races outside of the TB stuff, and we're going to talk about that all year long, and we're going to talk about the flings, and we're going to talk about the hootenannies and all the stuff that's going on, because there's so much good racing going on, the FTR stuff, so many good stuff. But what races are you specifically excited about right now today, if someone asked you?
Probably honestly, God, this is terrible. I'm most excited to prep the racetrack for this grudge race thing at Hardsburg. Is paying $100,000.
Dude, you got to talk about this, right? Because we've talked a little bit about this. Obviously, in my commercial, I made a joke about no time. Well, I come to find out that they give you a time on the slip. They just don't tell you what the other guy ran, and they don't put it on the board. So this whole time, I'm like, these guys are bums. They don't even know what their car runs. They ain't got no mileage. They're just making guesses.
Hey, I don't usually read text, but Brandon Taylor, you can kiss my ass. That's all I got.
That actually, I'm just going to sign on, doubly signed on that.
That's all.
So tell us about the 100K. This
grudge race.
Yeah. See, Brandon,
okay.
This is not, look, if you're texting Tyler right now, this is not the time. Put it in the chat.
Yeah. You don't put it in the chat.
Fair, yeah, you know what? Don't put it in the chat. I apologize.
So no time 275. I have no idea what that means. I don't know what kind of cars we got. These people don't have enough rules for me. Okay.
Sure.
It is the wild, wild west out here.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what I'm looking at. They told me something had stock front suspension.
Hell
and
yeah.
The only thing stock about it was the location of the shock towers.
Okay.
And I don't understand that.
So they got a bunch of different stuff. And who's putting this race on?
Bodie. He was the black guy that was on Street Outlaws. From
Bodie. Okay, cool. So there's a 100K street fight, shootout, grudge race, no time, on radials. I'm going to just make up the name. It's going to have the world's longest race title.
Yes.
What's it actually called, though?
Grudge Bowl.
Yes, TJ, they can deep stage. Could you imagine TJ
No, they're not allowed to deep stage.
275 comes in deep, and the guy's waving him in. He's like, hold on, I got it. I'm good. Thank you. I'm good. Thank you. That's incredible. So you're excited about a grudge race. Obviously, man, running US 60's got to be like a lot, but you guys have quite a few different events as well. So are you excited about a lot of other stuff there too? Or what about your racing personal schedule? What are you excited about?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing. I might go to 2 races or I might go to 12. But
hell yeah. That was my plan this year too, man. I had like so many 2024. I was like, man, I'm hitting all these races. I didn't hit like half of them. I
don't have time to at all.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's fair. I'm excited about the race too, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm most excited about the PRO race. I'm excited that I got in. Shout out to invite only. Obviously, I was like their last race. They were like, all right, we can't fill this, so we got to ask PJ. which is cool, man. The lack of respect is what.
I don't care when they pick me. Just pick.
Just as long as they pick me. That's right. I'm on the team. No, I'm excited about it, man. I haven't been to anything like this. And obviously, we talked about this previously. It's like every big money super stock race that there has been, my car's been blowed up. I didn't have a motor, or I blew it up in the water box, or thought I blew it up in the water box. So, like, I have yet to make a big money super stock race, and I'm praying, knocking on wood, that I make it to Bradenton, all in all. So I'm excited about the PRO race. I'm also excited, obviously, to run super stock a full season, or as long as my 283 will let me. I'm excited about those, but I'm also excited to run the TB stuff too, because I think Virginia is going to be awesome. I'm super excited about Virginia. I had a great time there. I've played a show there. I've runner-up a race there now, so I feel like I've hit all those things, and now I'm going to work a race. So I'm really, I'm ironing in. I might as well move to Richmond. Shout out to Tyler Crossnow and that whole team. I don't know.
I went to Virginia one time. It was hotter than balls. I lost. I went 0 for 14.
Oh, yikes! That was a rough weekend.
And then I drove all the way home.
I mean, I'll tell you this, man. My my Silverado was struggling, dude. That 9.5 hour drive turned into like 13. It was brutal, tough, man. And it was 1,000 degrees. It was really tough. But yeah, I'm excited about that too. Are you excited to run Super Gas? Is that car going to be ready at some point?
Not in time for me to run it.
Oh, no. Okay.
It'll be done just in time for Hunter to get in it, probably.
Solid. All right, so we're excited about that. If you guys haven't seen it, that car looks sick. I'm super pumped about that too, as well. Because I just think I think that Super Gas for you is like it's a brand new challenge. Have you ever run Super Gas?
One race on. I bought. I don't remember.
Is this when you had the blue car and y'all tried to run it?
No. Hell no. No, sir. That's crap. No thanks. No, I had that green Corvette Roadster. That's 63.
Dude, that's how long. I don't even remember that one. Damn, dude. Yeah, I feel like I've seen all of them. I don't even remember that one. Holy shit. Okay.
I beat the shit out of me second round.
And you were like, I'm out on this.
Yeah, I was on alcohol.
Yeah, I can't wait till he has a $250,000 Roadster. Second round, he loses, and he's just like, F this. I'm out. I've had enough. I'm selling everything. It's on Facebook that night on discount. Yep. Low runs. That's what we're going to talk about. You know what I'm most excited about in 2025? Me helping some of these people sell their race cars on the internet. Stop saying low runs. Help me out. Help me help y'all. Don't put low runs on your 2003 car. You might have put low runs because you got loaded up first round.
They did not.
Ain't nobody else put low runs on.
You know what I got that's got low runs? Hey, anybody looking for a dragster out there? I have a 2014 Phantom that was owned by Bloomfield that's only been crashed 7 times, and now I got it. It's in mint condition. It has 12 runs on it.
Hey, real talk. I want you to put that on there. Welds are perfect. Low runs.
Everything's great. Everything's perfect.
Every time I see like a Scotty or Edmund car come up, it's always like, oh, low runs. And I'm like, by who? Scotty made more runs on a car in a year than most of y'all clowns made more than me. I'm just saying, like, I should say clowns. I should be putting me in that group. I'm just noting. Yeah, man.
He did. Yeah.
It's crazy. Shoot. Yeah, man. I don't know what I want to know. Also in the chat, in the bench racers, what are you guys excited about for 2025? What races should we be looking at? Or maybe it's just your own thing. What are you excited about? Walt Walker is Fresh Welds. That is, yeah. I love when they put brand new Pro Stars or whatever, the Illumistar, brand new Illumistars. I'm like, I don't even think Weld makes those anymore. That's some shit I would put in my post. I feel so bad because every post, if I've ever sold anything, I'm like brutally honest, and I'm like, hey, it runs, it goes down a racetrack. I'm not very good in it. Someone might be able to. I always put like Tyler Bohannon sat in the driver's seat once.
Get out of here.
I'm just saying, like, I got to figure out a way to sell things. I'm excited about 2025. Maybe the price of race cars will go down. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I got a few to sell, and then it can go down.
There you go. Yeah, Tyler's got a few on the high end.
I'm banking on a lot now.
Here's the real question I have for you. Is the Aspen going to see the light of day in 2025? Just for those of you who don't know, Tyler conned Brian into going halves on a stalker in an Aspen.
I bought it to bust PJ's ass.
And he ain't hit me yet, baby. Ain't hit me yet. I've been trying to drive it for a year now. Or did we ever get if there's any Dodge guys or Mopar guys who know how to work on what carburetor is it?
It's a thermoquad.
Thermoquad. If we got any Mopar guys in the chat, man, let us know. That's a good one, Tommy Flowers. That's a good one. I like it. The combo at US 60. That's a good point. Y'all still doing the stock super stock combo in 2025?
Yeah, we're gonna try it again. I don't remember exactly where the dates were, but I think I get it. Like the guys who were not wanting to try it the first go around, I get it.
Can we do how about this? If y'all don't have a stock super stock ride, we have a rent a ride program. You can drive a Dodge. You can drive a Dodge Aspen. It is available at US 60.
Well, no, it's not even a US 60. It's all year long. If you want to run a race after I get her tuned up, $1,500 a race. She's yours. Fuel included.
Oh, $1,500 a race. And man, I think we can. Could you imagine if we put that deal together?
Fly in, show up, and drive. I'm in $1,500 a race in my Aspen. Brian and I's Aspen.
That's what I was gonna say. Brian and yours Aspen. Josh Decker is excited to see the Aspen go on. I am too, man. I want to see it run. I would like to run stock in it at some point. I've been trying to drive it for a year and a half now. I don't know, man.
Because he knows that I've been supposed to work on the carburetor for 4 months.
I know. I tried to find guys, but no luck, man.
For us. Here in Louisville, Bob Akers. I forgot all about him. It's Todd France's neighbor, and he's got a Dodge stocker.
There you go. We got some guys in the chat who are ready to fight over it, man. I think we should do that. I think we should put it together where you rent the ride. If you win, how about this? It's $1,500 a weekend. You get to keep all the winnings. You can take it wherever you want. If you want to bottom ball it somewhere, top off.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, TJ Jordan, man, if you could pick it up and make it run, buddy, you can take it to Florida, by God.
Hey, and don't think we're a low run operation here. We got a spare motor.
Spare motor, and it's low runs.
Mm-hmm.
Low run spare motor. Everything. Actually, real talk though, everything on it is actually brand new at this point.
I've changed everything. 0 runs with the car. So
literally low runs. That's incredible, man.
It's a brand new 79 Dodge Aspen.
I love it. Oh man. Well, last thing for 2025, I like I said, we're very excited about all those things. I think also what I'm excited about is the change in the direction of like, I feel like there's a lot of races available for everybody, but even more so that are organized, right? I love that guys are trying to promote and do a lot of things, and I hope that a lot of people see like it's a lot of work to put on a race. You know what I mean? I'm excited about that. I'm also very excited, and I did say this, I want to see a junior dragster roadster. I got to see one at a TB race. I have to see it. I also need to make a pass in it. If I can fit in it, that would be excellent. But I got to see one. I'm excited for those in 2025. So if somebody has one and they're going to be at a TB race, let us know, man. We want to talk to you, video you, chat with you about it. Because I'm interested to see that kind of thing, man. I think that's a kind of a cool operation. I think it's outrageous to spend $20-some thousand on a junior dragster. The first one my dad built was like $1,200 in chromoly tubing and a pull start motor that didn't make it down. The first time I went down a racetrack, I went like 1671 at like 24 miles an hour. So
I don't think I'm scared to death. My uncle will be the one to order 2 of them.
Guys, like, can I put these? Can I enter these in comp?
Yeah. My kids.
What kind of gear ratio we got to send this thing down the quarter mile? That's a lot. That I take that back. The last thing we're going to talk about is: are you going to run comp this year? Yes or no?
I want to try to.
Okay. What are you? Gonna, what are you going to run? What combo are you going to run comp?
Oh, I got a 1992 Spitzer dragster with a 304-inch Jeff Taylor Performance badass wedge motor.
Yeah.
That's going to turn 11,000 RPM and go 720s. Probably not.
You know, everybody, I used to think like, who really wants to run comp? Like, why? What are we doing? Right? What are we doing? But then I'll be having conversations with Tyler. We're going to have a segment on as we move through the year called Random Comp Combos, and he's going to give us the detailed reasoning as to why it's a good combo to run. It could be, I mean, he's got all types of ones, but so we're going to talk about this year. I know Andrew Hill is excited about that. I'm actually super excited about that too. But like the conversations that we've had about comp have honestly made it very like, I want to see it. I'm very excited about it.
If you talk to Andrew Hill about comp, you watch him go into this other dimension. Like he just nerds
That is
out.
the full engineer in him, man. And we need more guys like that who want to work. Because I've talked a little bit about this too. It's like, it's hard to work on race cars now because everything can be bought and put on and all this, especially in bracket racing. Man, I'm not knocking y'all. Not that you guys don't test or anything. I'm not saying that, but
too easy not to do.
It is like you can bolt it on and go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it should speak volumes to you that you can bolt it on and go. That I won a 10-grander. Let me be very clear with everybody. In a car I never drove before. Okay, so if I can do it, anybody can do it. That's the cool thing about bracket racing. But the cool thing about comp is like these guys are like, you know, if you talk to Siepenek, man, like I'm watching this guy struggle for years, but look at the gains that he's made by himself, engineering every single piece of that.
Yeah, like Joey bought Charlie Stewart's J Drag. I think it was a J Dragster.
Sure.
It was blowed up.
Okay.
So I went to Texas and I got this thing, and he hands me a tackle box, and he said, "This is your spare lifters, valve springs, valves, push rods." This thing was this tall and this wide.
Yeah.
And he said that there's multiple of each. And I opened it, and the lifters were like this tall.
Wow.
And the valve springs were like this. I called Joey before I pulled out the driveway. I said, "Sell this piece of shit. I'm out."
It's like putting together a Lego set. Holy shit.
It was a Trailblazer motor. I think the thing had like 32 of these lifters. I don't know. They were everywhere.
It's incredible for a 4-cylinder that's turned sideways.
It's so stupid.
Incredible. So I think that's a cool thing, man. I'm excited to see you try comp, dude, just because I think me and you have talked about it for so long, and I think it's actually a really good fit for your thing, right? Because you don't have to – your job is to stay in front. Mm-hmm. That is your job, is to stay in front, where 98% of the racing we do is to get behind. Like especially at the rate you're driving. I mean, obviously not the rate I'm driving, but like my job's always to stay in front. But like in comp, your goal is to stay in front, right?
Yeah, a lot of what you're doing, like what I'm doing now, is I'll be honest. If I have to wheel race somebody right now, I'm terrible at it because I just all I'm doing now, like I'm making sure that they're in the realm and killing what I got to kill because I think I hit the tree.
Sure.
And if I don't, then I'll do. But like you're just running formulas through your head for 4.5 seconds to get to dead on. Is all I'm doing now. And so this will be cool because now I ain't got to even think about getting behind. I can just take 40 the entire year. And it's going to be fun.
Yeah, man, that's really what I want to see. I just think it would be really, really cool. And I think Joey and your dad would just love that shit. I know your dad gets tired of working on stuff, but I think he secretly wants to do that shit. I think he
wants to do it for real. Like, we've done it twice, and, you know, it's a lot of money, and you kind of get scared. So before we get to the first, like, we'll run one race with it, and then the first guy that offers us money that, like, you know, even money or more.
Sure. Which makes sense, too. I mean, I'm not, like I said, figure it out. I just think it'd be really cool. Shout out to Eric Ellsworth, man. Ellsworth is here. Yeah, you know, if you listen to Brian, we are Top Ball Bracket Racers, and we're nothing else.
I bet they're talking about it with each other.
I bet they're texting each other right now about it. One other, I keep going on about 2025. It pops in my head. I've got notes, but I didn't do a good job about the races. The Verge series. Look, man, I'm just going to say this. I'd never been to a Verge race until last year, and I was, like, dead hooked on it. I was like, this shit is sick. Oh, yeah. It's awesome. Shout out to the Verge guys. We've got new racetracks that we're going to. Obviously, I'm a part of it in the sense of I'm going to be doing video stuff. I'm going to be doing interviews and all the things and announcing and all this stuff. And so, like, we're excited about it. I hope y'all are excited about it because you're still 2 10-grand paydays. It's going to be crazy. If y'all haven't seen a 450, if you race Super Comp, I understand you're not allowed to use the throttle stop in our series. However, if you can figure out a way to run this series, you will enjoy it. I promise you, it is. Yeah, I mean, I think so. Eisenhower's been down there and beat us up, and Kaufman's been down there and beat everybody up, and
Hunter did good. But
Hunter did good at the beginning. Like, yeah, I just think it's a great series, man. So if y'all haven't checked that out, the Verge Quick Outlaw series.
I'm taking 40. Okay, like I'm taking 40. I'm not taking 12. I'm not. I am hanging on for dear life in this Spitzer.
Let me tell you something. You want to know if someone's lying in this window right here? If you see the 2 windows, you want to know if someone's lying? If they say they're looking straight ahead and ain't turning, okay? Even I am going to take it. I'm going to take a gander. I'm going to take a gander.
I just kind of peek. I get scared now. I turn. I'm like, oh God, I'm not going straight.
You know, there was a thing on Luke's on one of the This Is Bracket Racing Elite things, and he was like. He was talking about the different kind of drops or whatever, and I just mentioned, I was like, how come panic drop wasn't listed? Like, that's all I ever do is panic. Sometimes I'll be out sometimes I'm not even in front, and I'm panic dropping. I just I assume I'm going under for no reason. I didn't dial to go under. I didn't set up to go under. I'm just panic dropping. So hopefully.
The panic ones that I get is when they stop. That's when I'm panic.
Oh man, if they've stopped, I'm probably not even looking at them anymore. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm be like, oh shit, I didn't even see that. Oh god, that happened. Oh god. Oh shoot. All right, well, man, we've talked a lot. This is 35 minutes in. We're trying to keep these episodes, around an hour or so. Obviously, this is our first one, so we appreciate the feedback in the chat. Obviously, and if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, don't forget to let us know your thoughts. I take constructive criticism. Otherwise, you can jump off a small cliff without a parachute. But constructive, I'll take that. I feel like that was good. That wasn't even rude. I wasn't even mean yet.
That was pretty good.
I wasn't even mean yet. But we are going to talk about something we're very excited about. I love college football. I love college basketball. Tyler is the same. And I thought, one of the things that I think is really missing in specifically NHRA, they talk about power rankings and they do it a little bit, but I think they could do more. And I see that now, there's some bracket racing specific ones. I followed one today. I totally forgot that existed. So shout out to y'all on the bracket racing power rankings. Those things like that. I think that's Gleghorn's deal, right? Is he still doing that? Yeah. So shout out to Gleghorn. I think that's a great part of sport, man. One, obviously gets people a little chatter. Everybody can talk and give their opinions and things like that. Being racers ourselves, it's not like I'm some analyst, right? Like on college football who never made it in it, right?
And I'm not like when we go through the season and people's like the success that they're having instantly makes changes to it. I hate this. Okay. Like making it preseason where we're going off of like whatever. Like I hate this.
It has never bothered a single Alabama fan though. I've learned this, man. Alabama fans love the preseason rankings, right? They're like, yeah, they put us in top 10 because, we lost 3 games last year and we're looking good. We've got 12 5-star recruits. And so my thing is the preseason.
Alabama.
The preseason
Nick
doesn't
Saban's
really,
gone.
the preseason doesn't really mean anything. I think it does play into this effect of it has a lingering effect on college athletics. We're not going to let it do that. If you lose or you don't race or anything, you're getting taken off the list. Or if you're not making you're taken off. I'm not quick. If one loss gets you put to the back of the bus. So I'm excited about that to be able to kind of go through that and give those. Honestly, like I said, man, I have respect. There are so many racers. I'm not good. I get that. It's not lost on me. I don't win all the time. However, I feel like I've watched enough racing to know like the guys that are putting it together, and it's an interesting take. And Tyler obviously being one of those ones.
About racing.
Yeah,
like
so I feel like it's a good opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are going to kick it off with the top 25 rankings. We're going to start at the bottom, work our way up. And we're going to start, we're also going to give some honorable mentions after we go through these first ones. So first up, look, man, I made the list with Tyler.
Jesus.
We poured hours into this.
Terrible.
And Tyler
started off this bad. Dude, we're going to get cooked in this chat, okay? Cooked.
First off, listen, I put Tyler, we're going to go through 25 through 21. So starting at number 25, Tyler Bohannon. Number 24, Travis Booth. Number 23, Pete Dagnolo. Number 22, Lucas Walker. And number 21, Cody Lane. And again, man, like I said, we poured over this for really a pretty good couple hours. We talked back and forth, the docs, the notes, and everything. I put Tyler up there because I'll put my money on Tebow right now. Also, not only that, but look at the body of work at the end of the year. And obviously, end of the year matters a lot as you're going into the following year, putting it together, cashed a lot of checks. And I think if you do race, now obviously if you don't show up at PRO and you go out and or whatever it may be, you'll move off. But in my opinion, and I don't think anybody in this chat's going to disagree with me realistically, that I think that that's kind of how it looks. So those are that's number 25. But Travis Booth, Pete Dagnolo, Lucas Walker, and Cody Lane, rounding out those 4 in the top 25 there. Travis Booth, a hammer of a year, man. I don't know anybody that drives. Obviously, the whole family, right?
They're sick.
Yeah, dude, they drive the slowest cars. They put together. They just deliver, right? What are your thoughts on the top 25? I think Travis was one that I just really wanted to include because winning his first Division III title, I had to run him heads up, but we always keep in touch and things like that, and he's been a great driver, him, the whole family, but Travis really putting it together in that Mustang. Same with Cody Lane. I put him at number 21, or we put him at 21 because of comp. Just like when you run through those years and you deliver year after year and you're doing a lot of those things, I think it matters. He also wins in stock. So I think that mattered to it. Lucas Walker, obviously, just delivers, in the bottom bulb. And then Dagnolo finished top 10. So, we kept him in there as well. What about you, man? What are your thoughts on the first of the top 25 through 21?
Well, first off, I'll tell you, I'm glad that I saved this information until now. The car that I'm taking to the pro race, we fired it up today and drove it out of the shop just so we can drive it in back in the shop, take the motor and transmission out of it, and change cylinder heads.
See, look at that.
You just feel like it.
Number 25, already doing work. He's preparing. I love that.
We got it. No, Travis Booth and his brother, like, the way that they do it is sick. And I know I couldn't do it. And that means a lot to me. I think when I look at this list, it's like they're doing something I know that I couldn't do.
Sure.
So it's pretty incredible. Pete Dagnolo, I know I told you this, like when we were doing this.
Yeah.
I hold Pete to a really, really high expectation. So like when we made this and you thought, yeah, like that was great. I'm like, yeah, but he just didn't do it for me this year. And then I go look at the stats and I'm like, he had a great year. But I just
he just did. I'm telling you, man.
I expect so much from him.
Sure.
I guess.
Yeah, but, Pete, yeah. I hope you're listening, man. Tyler expects a lot from you, but you still made it in the top 25 preseason.
Yeah, and Lucas is the same way because, like, I guess those two get like I raced around Lucas a lot and Phil Billy and those guys. Like, Lucas is always there. It's just closing it sometimes is where like, and it's not like he doesn't choke. He's not nothing like that. He's so aggressive that he falls on the wrong side of it a lot. And late when it's mattering, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's always in that discussion of money-wise when you get to that, to the bottom, when you're talking about foot breakers also. It's like, it's not even like he's just bottom bulbing, obviously, he's foot breaking, which is just, and he's done it in like, a million different cars as well. So, yeah, man, I'm excited, 25 through 21. Let's kick it off here. Number 20s, 20 through 16. We've got at number 20, Kai Kelly. Number 19, Joe Foley. At number 18, that's Champ McQuarrie, for those wondering at home. Number 17, Jeff Taylor. And number 16, Dylan Howe. All a good mix, right? Eclectic mix. And me and you talked about this quite a bit, putting Kai Kelly in there. And the reason I put Kai Kelly in there is I think I am a Wes Buck subscriber. I believe in what Wes Buck is selling me. And the pro mod thing is so crazy to me because I don't understand the rules. I just think it's fast door cars. It's awesome. And Kai Kelly went out and showed out first race. He obviously wins on the street a lot. He's I just think he's incredible for what he does specifically. Do I think he could bracket race? Do I think he could run super classes? Do I think he could do anything else other than heads up? I don't know him that well, so I'm not going to make a pass on judgment. But that doesn't matter. As far as where he's at right now, I think he's done a lot. And he continues to do a lot for the sport, man. I mean, I listened to him on the Wes Buck show. He's an interesting guy. He's got an interesting story. And that's why I kept putting him in there at 20. Looking back at, obviously, Joe Bob and Champ and Jeff Taylor and Dylan, you look at those names, that is an eclectic mix. Jeff Taylor had an incredible year at the Flings, just doing damage everywhere, right? I think, and he won the MVP for them and all that stuff. Like, just put an incredible year together. Champ is Champ. And the reason he's number 18 still is because the guy gets done, and he's got that new Chris Bear. He's got the new Bear Motorsports deal. So he's up there as well. What are your thoughts on those, or what do you highlight out of those 5?
I think the one that really highlighted for me was Dylan because he just does it kind of quietly to me. Maybe it's because he's on the other side of the country and I just don't see it that much. But he was pretty impressive without me really knowing about it. And then Champ, the new deal for Champ, I think I see Champ quite a bit, and he's more excited to go racing. Like Champ hates drag racing. Sure. The last few years. So he's excited, and that could be dangerous for everybody that stages next to him. Yeah,
for sure.
And then Kai Kelly, it's still impressive to me what he was able to do down there, what he can do. So I'd like to see more of it.
Yeah, I think as you see the list, obviously, and shout out to Darian, right? It's literally a list of everything. We've concluded a lot of different folks, man, from just different areas. I included Dylan Howard because I think that guy just won again at the Fling at the beginning of the year. He wins in stock. He wins in top drags. So he has done a lot of different stuff, and I really think from a West Coaster, he's been able to deliver. I think a lot of the West Coasters get that thing of they can't race with the East Coasters. They can't bracket. They can't do this guy's done it in every class. So pretty impressive, right? He's also in the Justin Lamb camp, which is hey, man.
That stuff's right.
Yeah, exactly. So I think a lot about that, too. Obviously, Joe Bob, I'll share a text that Tyler sent me. He said, look, I promise you he's at the Winter Series. He says, I promise you this. either me or Joe Bob's going to put this thing on the dance floor one way or the other. And like that confidence right there, plus he wins the 250 and not his car. And I think that he has a real chance to do damage this year as well. So I'm excited
the way
about
that
this.
Joe Foley hits the tree is kind of, it's dangerous.
Feet on the ground, right? Isn't that what he says? Feet on the ground, that's his thing?
Yeah. There's a few people, I mean, him and Mikey Matty, and, you know, I've raced with a couple of guys that just let go unreal, but he's definitely one of those guys.
Sure.
Like, it's pretty crazy.
You know, and I think that's a good point too, as we call out the if you're looking at the list, obviously, right? There's a million bracket racers, right, guys? It's hard to narrow it down. I could do a list of 100 of the top bracket racers, and that's cool. But like, you got to look at that mix of folks too, as we do that. But so yeah, those top 25 there, 25 through 16. I'm gonna share that one more time here before we go into the. We'll look at the ones who didn't make it. The honorable mentions. In the honorable mentions, we had Michael Handress, obviously great class racer. Steve Foley, incredible in that Copo. Devin Eisenhower, who I mentioned, just makes a lot of great laps all time. Great dude. Trey Vetter, again, another guy who's won in a bunch of different classes. Zach Fulcher. Yeah. Zach Fulcher, Erica Enders, Nick Hastings, Matt Diddy, Chris Whitfield, and Zach Mazier. All in those honorable mentions. And obviously, guys, like I said, you know, we talked a little bit about Erica's a perfect example of like, didn't put it together, and she has the most of the resources at Elite. Obviously they even it out, but like in reality, right? She obviously has.
Well, she's got more resources, I think, than like most of the class.
Sure.
You would say, like, not even just not the team.
Yeah.
But like, you know, their team has it over the other. So.
Yeah, and so we included that. You know, obviously she puts together a win at Pomona. It might change there, or maybe the pro race. Zach Fulcher, another guy, man, just does a lot of damage. Maybe not as consistent as some of the other names we had, but just another guy who's put it together. Basically every TB50, he's won one of them, it feels like.
Nick, he's won the last 3 or something.
Yeah, exactly, right. He raced himself too, so like he's cashed in so much of Brian and Tyler's money. I wanted to put him there. Nick Hastings is another one where his name didn't come up a ton this year, but he's obviously still Nick Hastings, right? Yeah. I've raced with Nick my whole life, so I know how good Nasty Nick is. Matt Diddy, obviously, same deal. I saw, and it's one of those things too, is we'll get into it. But one of the things about Matt, and I think a lot of racers could do this too, is that Matt does videos with This Is Bracket Racing Elite, and he's like talking through it. And as I'm listening to him, I'm like, damn, this guy gets it. Like, same combo in all the cars, same setups. He knows like he has prepared to take your money when he goes to the racetrack, and like, it's a different preparation. And like, he's one of those guys who's like, he could reel off this year and be the number one guy again. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. It's like, it's not necessarily up and down, but it's like, he is prepared to win at all times. Right. And so
he is, and he's definitely done it the right way. And I like, what I love is like, I didn't even know that he did that stuff for Luke, but when we did it together, then he told me, and I was like, how often do you do this? He's like, oh, pretty often. And I'm like,
yeah, it's
like,
really cool.
You wouldn't know that because he don't want nobody to get their, like,
no. He's a great kid as well.
I
guess he's not a kid anymore either. He's getting old too. So shout out to Matt Diddy, Chris Whitfield and Zach Mazier. Chris, obviously another great class racer, does the bracket racing thing too, crushes it. And Zach, man, I had to shout out to my fantasy football commissioner, but also back to back in the finals for D6, and he just is. He just puts it together. My guy can race. I wish he got to race more out here on the East Coast. If I had a car that was better for you, Zach, I would hook you up with it. But I'm not that guy for you. So those are the like to haves. Let's get into the numbers 15 through 11 here. Number 15, 14, 13, 12, and 11. Looking at it, we've got Antron Brown at number 15, Dallas Glenn at number 14. Donovan the Doughboy Williams at 13, Sean Belliamer at 12, and Austin Prock at 11. Obviously, this one's super pro heavy, but when you look at it, me and you have talked about this, right? Guys who can kind of drive anything. I think Antron's on this list specifically won a world championship as his own team owner. That's impressive. I understand he's had Matco and he has a lot of resources, but it takes a lot to make that show go and to win it, to do it all himself. But let's talk about Dallas Glenn. I know that's your guy. Me and you talked about that. I love Dallas.
Badass thing in professional racing right now. Nobody wants to talk about it. It kind of sucks.
Let's talk about it.
Well, I'm telling you, y'all want to talk about the people, racing is all about money coming in, like NASCAR's big thing is it doesn't matter if you got any talent, right? Like it's all about, and then it's all about the money that you bring with you. And then the old guys talk about, oh yeah, I started in the shop sweeping floors, and then next
Right.
thing you know, I'm driving a fucking NASCAR. Like that's Dallas Glenn.
That is
okay?
that guy.
I mean, he didn't. I mean, he raced his entire life, but like with KB, like that. That's cool as shit. Let's talk about that, okay?
Yeah. That's obviously, man. Me and you've talked, like I said, we talk about this constantly. How do we? This goes back to leaving that racing in a better place. I think Dallas is an incredible driver. He did it the right way. He can flat drive and he wins. It's like that's what you have to look at in pro stock. It is so hard to win in that class without infinite resources, and like he manages to do all of those things, which I think is awesome. So that's why he's on the list as well. And going into that, Doughboy, we'll talk about Doughboy last, but 12 and 11 is Sean Bellumer and Austin Prock. Sean Bellumer, perfect season in Top Alcohol.
That was the wildest shit that I ever looked at. Like I clicked on his name because I'm like, man, these guys have had a good couple of years. And actually, the head I got on Maxima, he works with those guys.
Nice. Shout out to Maxima if y'all want to send me some 20 weight. I would love a case.
It's good stuff. But so. And I was like, man, he's had a good couple of years. Let me look at his score or whatever. I'm like, I think he won the world. And I click on it. It's like win.
He's like, I think he won the world. He's like, oh shit, that's a perfect record.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he won.
Damn.
Yeah, he scored perfect. And I don't know, to my knowledge, that's the first time.
And I think the thing about that's so impressive is Top Alcohol is one of those classes I learn a lot when I'm going to divisionals or nationals. I'm learning because I got friends that are running those and done different things. And Mike Coughlin and me talked about it. It's not exactly like, hey, man, throw money at this thing and it goes down the racetrack. It helps. Obviously, Randy Meyer, it helps. But, you still have to go 520 or some shit like that to win in funny car. It's so fast. So I think that it is an exceptional we had to put him on the list, man. And lastly, obviously, Austin Prock wins a world title. I think Austin is a great young driver. We need more guys like that in the classes as much as I just think it's a great deal, right? His dad, crew chief, and all these things, and I think it worked out really good in his way, obviously, in Austin Prock being number 11. So shout out to them. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the Doughboy. Obviously, that guy puts it together constantly. I did give him a hard time because of the whole shooing the camera thing out of the car, but he's still just an exceptional driver, man. Yeah. You've raced with Doughboy a lot. What are your thoughts on that?
I think he's got more talent than most everybody out there. I mean, even the ones that we talk about, even going forward, I think Donovan's got that much talent. I mean, there's just no way that you can be Gary Williams' son and Troy Williams' nephew and not be extremely good in a race car. But he's still doing it that way. Corey still holds and does it the way that they did it and wins. And there's guys out there that can do it and pick the right times and do it. But for the most part, the guys that are, consistently winning aren't really doing that much. You think 10, 15 years ago when we talked about guys who were good at racing, you just us, okay, they're good at racing, they hold. It wasn't never talked about,
So what was that thing on the internet this past week? The sandbagger guy who had the sandbagger timing system?
Yeah,
it's just Doughboy's thing.
Yeah, right. That was it. But now, I think people still have that mindset, and it's not I was holding less than 100, and for all 86 runs I made it.
Sure.
But I just think that. But he is doing it that way. That way that y'all think good racers race. That's just Donovan. Really not the rest of us. There's a few. And there's guys who can do it that don't. But
super cool, calm, and collected as well, man. When you put it together like that, that definitely gives you, a lot of runs. So shout out to the Doughboy. All right, we're gonna get into numbers 10 through 6 here. Number 10, 9, 8, 7, and 6. At number 10, they call him CG. He's got old Goldie over there, Corey Galletti. Kevin Brannon, the Rabbit, at number 9. Monty. Go ahead.
Yeah, Corey's one that I wanted to step on because I feel
step on it.
Corey's another one that I hold to a very high standard. And when I looked back at this year, it was down from the year before, which in reality,
well, when you win $6
really
million the year before, of course you're going to be down.
But I don't know. I just want. I know Corey can do better than he did this year, even though it was an incredible year.
Sure.
And I'll never have a year as good as Corey just had that I'm telling him he needs to have a better one.
Bro, you could add all 26 of my years. I don't think I had as many as he had.
No, right? I'm an asshole for this. But
right.
Yes.
I like that, though. He's setting the precedent high for y'all. So shout out to CG. Hopefully you got that together. Hopefully you heard him there. Number 9, Kevin Brannon, the Rabbit. Number 8, Monty Joe Bogan. Number 7, Chris Bear. And number 6, Aaron Stanfield. As we get into that, like 9 through 6 there, the Rabbit obviously he's Kevin Brannon, man. That guy's a machine. Quiet, soft-spoken guy. I think if I interviewed him in the winner's circle, I'd definitely have to repeat for him, almost like the interpreters do at concerts. He would say it, and then I'd be yelling it back to everyone. But he just is a machine, man. Cerebral about it, and he just has a crazy ear. But the one I want to talk about is Monty Joe. I met Monty just a few short years ago, so I wasn't like super familiar with your game, but real recognize real. Monty Joe is that guy. Top 10 in the world in comp and in super stock. Does it with cars that he has to change valve springs every 5. Dude, there's just no amount of work that his team won't do. He's over in the Lee Sharp camp with the comp eliminator car, and I just think that's like, I hold him in such a high regard because I think he's one of the best doing it in stock or super stock, and obviously comp now.
Just about the fact that one of his crew guys at a comp eliminator race is Cody McDaniel.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah,
what?
I saw it. Like, they were in the lanes, and I looked over, and I'm like, I think that's Cody, but he's got his shirt on, so I really don't know.
That would have thrown me. I would have been like, no way, that's not him.
Yeah, so I go over there, and I'm like, what are you doing? Well, I guess, like, Caterpillar, he kind of works for Caterpillar.
Sure.
But, like, Caterpillar, if you're a big enough company, they give you a guy, right?
Sure,
like
sure. Yeah.
Well, Cody, I guess, is Lee's guy.
That's incredible.
So, Lee takes him racing, too.
That is a shout out to Cody McDaniel, man. That's amazing.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He might be quiet, but he's got a cool ass job.
I love that. All right, number 7. This is somebody I've also raced with basically my entire life. Chris Bear. We've talked about this. I don't think there's anybody who is more inundated in his rhythm than Chris Bear. I really don't think. I used to joke with Randy Shire because Randy Shire would start bumping it in from Ohio at a race that's in Alabama. So I don't know if they got that together, but I do think I've realized that, like, when you learn from Chris, it can't be a bad thing, right? You do the same things and so, like, Chris Bear, obviously just a machine, and I'm excited with him and Champ, just the numbers that they may put up this year, maybe Jordan Pippen type stuff, 96 Bulls.
Chris Bear races with a mindset that none of us have ever seen in our lives. Just, I don't know, that's not possible to be as focused as he is and as close as he sees things and the way that he does it. Like, I mean, we're down to talking about 1 thou and 2 thou.
Yeah,
3 thou.
and he sees it almost. Like, I feel like he can almost see that.
Yeah, and the way that he's racing, but he is racing to less than 3 thou, whether it's what he thinks he can go and what he's spraying or, like, hitting the tree. He's doing it on a scale that none of us can.
Sure. I will tell these two quick story about Chris. Obviously, I've been racing with Chris a long time, and he was just an extreme. We were racing at Norwalk. It's quarter mile. Back then, we were running Super Pro. I had an O2 race tech. I was like, man, this is awesome. I'm top 10 in points. I don't give a shit about nothing. I'm that guy. I'm a kid. I'm way worse than I am now. And so I loved Chris, and I knew that he's the best racer at that time. Kirby McClanahan and all them, he's okay. But Chris Bear is the standard bearer at Norwalk Raceway.
He still is.
He still is.
You can take that shit too. Like, Chris Bear's Chris Bear. That's it.
That's exactly my point. So I raced Chris. I think it's probably like 4th or 5th round, and we're running down the racetrack, and we're about like at 1,000 foot. And I've obviously been looking the whole time. I'm looking, and I look one last time, and I'm like, this race is over. It's over. You're about to get the business. And as soon as I crack I don't flicker crack the throttle, the hood scoop shakes, and he is around me on the horn. And my mind exploded. I was like, what just happened? I'm like 11 and like 1 above. I was like 1 above. I'm like 20. I should win. What? And then I look. He just whooped my ass. So I'm talking to him like, I got to know what transpired. He said, as soon as you looked back the last time, your scoop shaked, and I just laid on the spray. And I was like, holy this guy is way more. He's got so many more weapons. That's my quick Chris Bear story.
Every weapon that you can have.
Yeah.
And once I got my hands on some of those weapons, some of them I threw out because that's like way too much to be worried about.
Sure.
But some of them weapons are badass.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's already in most people's head because, like I said, he starts bumping it in before the round starts. So, it takes him a little bit to get to the lanes. But Ken also, just the whole team over there at Bear Motorsports. And lastly, just quick, Aaron Stanfield. I don't know if you guys know this, if you're not an NHRA guy or whatever, but he is dominated in so many different classes. He's a young kid. He gets it. And obviously, Greg Stanfield being the engine builder, and I get that. But, that's still a little gifted to be able to do that. And that's why we put him at the top, because the guy won a world title in Factory, right? Factory Stock Showdown, I think he won the world. He finished second. He was in 10 Pro Stock finals. 10.
This year.
That is so many. There's only 21 races. That's half of the year you spend in the that's incredible, man. I just think I don't know, man. We had to put him out there because I just think that's a dominant performance. To not win the world in Pro Stock but do that, pretty impressive. So, all right. Go ahead.
He was the second person to ever double up at Indy too, which was pretty cool.
What a number. Yeah, you just love to hear that too. All right, this is what we've all been waiting for. Top 5. Number 5, he is Gage Birch. Number 4, Jaden Lawler. Number 3, Cool Hand Luke. Number 2, Jeff Serra. And the number 1 ranked preseason is Cooter Jimmy Hidalgo Jr. Those are your top 5. Let's talk about it, man. Let's hear your thoughts.
Well, I don't know. Cooter, to me, for number 1, I think he's just it. I don't think there's anybody in stock and super stock racing that for the last 3 years, I had a list of 5 guys, Pete and Cooter and some of the guys that are still doing it at a very high level. But I don't I think it's Cooter and then, then those guys. I think there's a pyramid that he's on a level of his own.
Yeah, I think he's in the prime of his career right now with 2 of the best combos that he has figured out. Him and his dad.
He makes a lot more runs than anybody knows. He makes a shitload of runs.
He has a lot of claims, and that's another thing too. Is it's not easy to maintain these cars. If something happens and you don't have a spare and you got to get something worked on, to show up 2 weeks later to another is not easy. And they get it done. And that's again, man, I think you look at Cooter, obviously, I agree. I think that he is, I think if you put him in a bracket car, he would absolutely be able to do it. Obviously 8th Mile Racing is a little different, but I do think that he would absolutely be able to translate immediately.
Mm-hmm. I know he's tried it with the foot brake races and stuff. Sure. And I think he does it better in his equipment that he has than I do with anything that I have. So I think that's a big difference too. Jeff Serra, I was even we
went back and forth about. Look, we talked about these top 5 too, and we talked about this because I think that put the importance on understanding that we are just guys that love drag racing. So but we looked at a lot of stats, numbers, wins, all of these things that play into that. And Jeff Serra, dude, Tyler had to tell me because I'm obviously close in the bracket racing scene, but remembering who won what is not easy.
Yeah, I forgot. I had to go looking for it.
And Jeff Serra what was the big stat for him last year? He was in $1 million final and a $500,000 final. Is that what it was?
Yeah. He runner up $1 million and won a 500 last year. That just put him there, right? The 2 biggest stages of the year for big money bracket racing, and you're on the finals of both of them. You're done. You're the top of all of them right there.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge. I mean, so shout out to Jeff Serra and doing it in obviously different cars too all the time. It's never really the same car that I see. Which again, it's I get that it's bolt-on effect, but you're talking about driving different finish lines. The foot box in a Nova, obviously you're on the wheel, right? The foot box in a dragster, you're not on the wheel, and it's there's a lot of different things that play into that. So number 2, Jeff Serra, it's really 1 and 1A almost. It's kind of what we were looking at when it boiled down to it. And then obviously we put Cool Hand up there. Look, Luke Bogacki's. If you talk about all time, right? We're talking about Scotty, Peter, and Luke, right? If you're really talking about it across all 3, you're talking class racing bracket, it's from a sportsman perspective, meaning you do not run heads up ever. It's Scotty, Peter, and Luke, right? And so Peter didn't race as much last year. Obviously, he wasn't chasing the world. He did the flings and all this stuff. So he's probably not on this list, but he's obviously honorable mention. But Luke is still that guy, right? I mean, he's that guy in my opinion.
He won the $1 million. Okay.
No big deal.
I think people forget about that. And then
he won the $1 million.
Yeah, here's the side of Luke that I mean, people see it, but they don't get to see not everyone has seen this part of Luke. At the beginning of the year at Belrose, I turned off the track and Luke was parked right there, and I was getting out, taking my stuff off, and we were just bullshitting. And he said, "Did you see my new cool super gas setup?" I was like, "No, what you got?" So like, I went in the trailer with him, and he was showing me his tickets and stuff, and he was running it to where like it would take off wide open, so he could do a wheelie, and then he would go out like 2 seconds and shut it off, and then like just the craziest shit. And I was like, "That is cool." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm just having fun." Well, he like loses at 3 cars or something, and we, whatever. He goes racing for a few months, and when we went to do that school for him, me and Matt, I was like, "So, like, how was your super gas setup?" He goes, "Oh, it was fun, but I think I got a chance to win the world. Like,
I got to switch it back.
I must switch it back and just try." And, like, not, he didn't say try, but like that's the way I took it. Okay,
yeah,
like
I get it. Like,
it's that easy for you that you just, I'm over it. And so now, like, he's like, "I'm gonna chase the world," and he lost, but he won $1 million this year, screwed around in super gas for half a year, and then almost won the world again.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, and obviously, like I said, you got to keep cool hand up there. I know he's talked a little bit about how his racing schedule is probably going to change this year. It's going to look a little different with the 2 kids, racing and playing sports and all these stuff. And now I heard he's moving shops and all that stuff. So shout out to Chris Estep, man, and the wifey and then the kids, because I know they hold that camp down, and Luke probably don't make it easy on everybody. So Luke Bogacki, number 3, and lastly Jaden and Gage. Obviously, we've talked a little bit about Gage. Gage is in that same similar thing. I watched a video, him and Matt were both doing it. It was just really, really impressive to see what Gage is able to do in a race car. It's really, really impressive. And the same with Jaden. Jaden at 18, look, I understand he has the best of the best equipment. He's going 440s and all this stuff, and he's with Willie Wood, and I get it. But, like, I don't care what anybody says. You can't be in Jaden's spot and just go out there and win the 50s like he did. It just doesn't happen like that. You have to have a gift to do that the way he did it, and I think that he did a great job. So putting him in the top 5 with the run that he had was up there, and I think Gage is the same way.
I did too. Well, yeah, Gage is just going to win. I think that was a point that I made when we were talking about this. Like, Gage is going to win, and, even if it takes enough time to where you, like, don't remember the last time that Gage won because it was like 3 months ago, like, he's going to do it again.
Sure.
And he's never going to stop doing that. And Jaden's a guy that you could have stuck at number 20 on this list and said, had a first year, he wins all this. You could put him at the bottom of it and just say, he's got to make a move. But as good of a year as he had, and the expectations that I think we have.
Yeah, a little bit of this is expectations for the year. That's 100%. A lot of this is like, it's obviously what you did last year, but it's the expectation for 2025. That's what preseason rankings are based on the information we have. So, well, like I said, if you look all at it, man, the top 25, very interesting. That list will be, obviously you guys can see it in the video, but we'll share that information on the infographic that I made.
Nice text from JP. I always love those.
What did JP say? Is he mad that he's not on the list?
No, it has nothing to do with him.
I was going to
say. Let's just say I'm just going to put it out there so that everybody knows how JP is. There's a driver that's here on the list. There's a driver that's here on the list.
Yeah.
And he said that putting this guy here and this guy here
to flip them.
Hold on, let me read it to you.
Yeah, we're going. Sorry, JP, don't send a text during the middle of the show. You don't want it read. That's the way I look at it.
He said that's about like looking at Alabama's season roll tide.
I don't know if JP even watches college football. I don't believe
he does. It's crazy. See,
really?
He does all these things that nobody know about.
That's fair. Well, shout out to JP, world effing champ. In case y'all didn't know, he got name dropped. But yeah, man, crazy. So this is our first episode. We have made it through the top 25. We gave a little intro into our information. We're going to get more into it. We are excited about the year. Obviously, we're going to interview some of our heroes and some of these people that we know that have really impacted the sport. I've been watching all this old racing, so that's like intriguing me to make these like questions and ask and stuff.
So much of it too. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm just texting Tyler Rand. I'm like, did you know this?
No, I'm watching it.
I'm like, did you know this happened? It's pretty crazy. So we're excited about where that goes, man. If there's something you guys want to hear or want to see, let us know, man. We're not going to do the top 25 every episode. Obviously, it's a little bit longer, and it'll be probably once a month as we update those.
I don't want to get shit on every week either.
Look, let me tell you something, man. That's fair. Like I said, Chuck Bohannon will be handling all of our complaints. So you can send those directly. I'm gonna put his. I'm gonna put his phone.
As we go.
I'm gonna put his graphic of his phone number right here across the screen. Just send this to Chuck. But yeah, man, We want to we're going to interview some people this year that we're really excited to hear stories from. We got a few lined up that we're very excited about here in the coming weeks. We'll get to do our first interview. Those will be shown on the show, and we'll take some questions after that. But we're excited about it, and we hope y'all are along for the ride. Again, hit that like and subscribe button on this channel if you have a YouTube. That helps us out, man. We peaked, I think, at like 50 plus concurrent viewers. So shout out to y'all for chatting. Shout out to everybody that's in the bench bleachers there, the bench racers, helping us out. Tyler, anything you want to say before we go on episode 1?
I'll get better as we go. I don't know. If like, I'm just scared that when people.
I think you're really look. Man, we did a test episode last week, and I gotta get it out of time. I'm like, Tyler, you can say whatever you want. Brian's not here to hurt you.
I know my dad's watching. He's got to be so proud. He just texted me. I'm not handling shit for y'all.
Yeah, that's what you think, Chuck. Yeah, I know. Chuck won't paint no shit for me. He don't want to work on my car no more. I would like to call that out. My car. Hold on, man. I hope Chuck is watching. This man, I had the lifters on, or I had the rocker arms on backwards, right? Didn't nobody say no shit to me when I was putting them on. This man was whole ass in my motor, had both valve covers off and didn't notice it. And then all of a sudden he's like, damn, I'm surprised it ran. Yeah, no shit, Chuck. Thanks a lot. Wild, man. 2025 is going to be a wild ride. We hope you guys are along for the ride with us. Again, this is the BE00TAKE00 show. I'm PJ North. That's Tyler Bohannon. And until next time, guys, when we're going to do it again next Tuesday. Join us for episode number 2 right here on the